We asked Brit Hume what stood out to him in the president's address, and he flagged this bit here.
Today, after 4 years of economic growth, corporate profits and stock prices have rarely been higher, and those at the top have never done better. But average wages have barely budged. Inequality has deepened. Upward mobility has stalled. The cold hard fact is that even in the midst of recovery, too many Americans are working more than ever just to get by, let alone to get ahead. And too many still aren't working at all.
Brit Hume is our Fox News senior political analyst. Brit, your thoughts on that?
Well, he's talking about his presidency. I mean, he's saying after 4 years of recovery, this is his recovery. This is the recovery he promised. And he's saying after 4 years, it's gotten worse. I mean, I've never heard a president do that in my life, get up in the middle of his presidency and announce that all these things that are supposed to be the centerpiece of his agenda going forward have all gotten worse since he's been in office. Obviously, he didn't put it that way, but you think about it, that's what he was saying.
You were persuaded by the crux of his message.
Well, and on top of that, that was one of the excerpts that they distributed ahead of time, and I can remember kind of wondering at the time, is he really going to say that? Well, he did.
He's going to contextualize it. He's going to put it all, in perspective for us. But he did go on to talk about how, the economy is doing much better tonight. I've got the excerpts here, but I won't play the soundbite. But the lowest unemployment rate in 5 years, a rebounding housing market, manufacturing sector adding jobs, more oil produced at home. I mean, he sort of ticked through what he believes are his economic accomplishments before he got to that line.
Yeah, he did, but then he went on to say that that this issue of income inequality, which he, a week or so ago called the principal challenge of our time, had worsened under, well, he didn't say it worsened under me, but he described a circumstance during his time in office in which the problem had obviously gotten worse. I thought that, that leaped out. I mean, there were other things as well, but I thought that was really quite striking.
And he's saying this up against, just so the viewers know, the Wall Street Journal had a poll out this morning that said 68% of the people now believe that the United States is either stagnant or worse off, our economy is, since he took office. 70% are dissatisfied with the economy.
Right, and we have 74% in our own poll said that people think the economy is still in recession. We've been in recovery. We are in the 5th year of an economic recovery that began really remarkably soon after the president took office, actually before his stimulus program could really take effect. He took office in January of 2009, and the recession technically ended in June.
What did you think of the tone of the speech, of sort of the size of the speech?
Well, I thought the speech was like look, I've covered about, I think I counting first-year addresses that are not called State of the Union addresses when the president's just taken office. I think I've covered about 37 of these, and they're all similar. They're long, too long in my view. They tend to be dull because they're programmatic as the president wades through one issue after another when he nods in this direction and that direction. I mean, the president tonight even saw fit to talk about closing Guantanamo Bay, something he's been talking about since we first heard of him. And it still hasn't happened. The tone was, I thought, not nearly as partisan as we've been led to believe. I thought it was kind of mild in that regard. I thought it was, it was dull, as such State of the Union addresses are, and there were no big new initiatives in it, which is, I think, making peace with reality on his part, because there's not any chance that any major new initiatives could get through unless he was willing to compromise with the Republicans seriously on it, and they don't seem too eager to compromise with him, nor he with them.
You'll be surprised to learn that there's somebody very important who agrees with a key part of your analysis, and he goes by the name of Mr. Loaf. The audience will hear a reaction from Meatloaf a little later in the show. Brit, thank you.
I'm looking for that, Megan. Thank you. I won't miss that.
You and he are simpatico. In moments, fact-checking the president's health care numbers. Plus, Frank Luntz and the Focus Group are back with tonight's big surprise. And then, President Obama has a message for the world. The debate is settled. Climate change is a fact. Karl Rove and Joe Trippi on what's behind that. And again, he's coming up.